जब पॉलिसी बेचा था तो I was sold everything, sun, moon, stars, everything, and at the cheapest price. And now it's come to claim that the insurance company has changed its entire stance and someone else is talking to me at a very stern voice, whereas the person who was selling me the policy was talking to me in a very sweet voice. Country is still not ready for fee-based advisory, which is serious money. Now I'm not talking about 99 rupees.
In US, it's very common, right?
Correct. In India, it's still advice is something that people are not ready to pay for.
US, when you are buying the insurance, it's not a 2-minute journey.
Correct.
It's a 10-minute journey. You will have to answer a lot of questions.
Correct.
And they will check a lot of data points before giving you insurance. And your claim is very, very smooth because they do a lot of effort before buying. Hello everyone. So today we have Mahavir Chopra with us, who is carrying almost 2 decades of experience in the insurance industry. He's a true veteran and he is up to something great. When I met him, I heard about his idea about trust building distribution in insurance, and that is something unique. And I never found that in my whole journey or whole experience. And we have a Mahavir with us, and today we will listen to him about his journey, how he's solving unique problem in the industry, and let's hear him.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining, Mahavir.
Hey, thank you for calling me here, Hitul.
Okay.
So sure. So I'll typically not take a lot of time to explain my journey, but I'm that way a chartered accountant by qualification, but I did not enjoy that entire journey of being a chartered accountant. I found it to be very passive, and I always wanted to be in the business because I belong to a Marwadi family, and all around me I saw people who are wealthy, rich people who are doing very well in terms of money and being very rich. And I come from a family which is typically my father has worked in a company. He's been an employee all his life. So there was always that entrepreneurial bug in me. Plus, I was bored with chartered accountancy. So when I got my first chance to basically start off with a couple of people whom I worked in the past, start off with an insurance broking company, I took up that challenge. Right. So this was when I was actually 25 years old. This is basically in 2005, 2006. Right. So we basically started an insurance broking company which will focus on retail. At that time, insurance broking companies used to be largely focused only on corporate business. But we wanted to do the retail business because we felt that the same services what a company gets, the sophisticated professional service, a customer should also get, an individual customer should also get. That was the thought process, and we wanted to do it using tech and wanted to do it using online, right? So we built the first online insurance comparison website in the country. We launched the website in 2007.
Oh.
This is even before Policy Bazaar existed.
Yes.
It did well. The website did really well. We got good fanfare. Media also covered us very well. Certain things happened, which I don't want to bore people about, but which basically did not lead to good results in the long run. So then I basically quit that company and I went into insurance broking companies where they wanted to set up digital practices. So I worked for a couple of insurance broking companies, one of which was Marsh. Marsh is one of the largest not one of the largest, it is the largest insurance broking company in the world and in India. So I was building the digital practice there. I was there for around, around 1.5 years. And at that time, basically, I got to meet the founders of Coverfox. I found that pretty exciting because the team was very, very interesting. The kind of people that were behind it were people whom I could relate with because they were very fiercely tech driven, right, and product driven, very fresh thought process, and plus they had a license and they had a VC that would back them. So I jumped on that the opportunity and I moved to Coverfox. So I think the most exciting times that I spent and the times where I learned a lot, one of the places would be Coverfox. So I was there for around 5.5 years.
Yes.
I got to experiment a lot, got a lot of freedom to do a lot of stuff that I wanted to do. And because the wavelength matched in terms of customer centricity, so we were able to do a lot of experiments to find out in terms of how a customer reacts to different kinds of services, right? So I used to first lead health, then I basically set up the entire claims practice, largely the car insurance claims practice, which was something that then went on to ACO, right, which is basically the service where the entire end-to-end service was managed by Coverfox. Basically, we used to pick the car, do the survey, get the car repaired, and get it delivered back to the customer. So it was something that it was an vertical integration into basically car insurance. Just not selling insurance, but also ensuring the claims are done very smoothly.
Yes.
So that's what
I
we
think
did.
this was the first time, right? I think Coverfox was the first company in India, right, who was enabling end-to-end journey, right?
Yes.
They were not doing aggregation, but
Correct.
they were doing end-to-end journey,
Yeah.
policy issuance,
Absolutely.
quotes to issuance, everything.
Actually brought in the fresh UX that people now see. It never existed before Coverfox.
Yes.
And all credit goes to the team that worked at that time, and largely to Varun, who basically was founding Coverfox at that time and who now is the founder of ACO, right? Who basically, and also Devendra Rane, right? So they basically brought in this concept of why can't the experience of insurance be similar to, let's say, a Clear Trip, right? Which was at that time the benchmark for UX in travel, right? So why can't it be that smooth, right? Because apart from that, earlier, before Coverfox existed, the insurance experience was largely only call center driven, and the tech that was built, the UX that was built, was largely just to capture a lead so that a call can be done. This was the first time someone had a vision that, okay, why should call centers only sell? Why can't tech sell? Of course, it had its own journey. So Coverfox also finally became a call center. But yeah, we at least tried that entire journey where, it would be completely tech led and not be assisted through typically a sales guy, right? So all those experiments actually helped me get too many insights into how customers behave to insurance, right? And what kind of propositions are customer looking at, and how do they react to different propositions. So two major insights that I got, right? One insight, largely one insight, and it came out to be two basically legs out of that the insight that basically for products like car insurance and bike insurance, insurance customers were okay with the product being fungible, कि मुझे ये मिल रहा है, वो मिल रहा है, टाटा की जगह पे बजाज मिल रहा है, ऐसे मिल रहा है. I was okay with it. It was largely a commoditized sale. It was you are buying a USB stick, right? तो USB stick आप HP का मिल रहा है या आपको let's say कोई दूसरी कंपनी का मिल रहा है. It does not matter as far as the price is good and you recognize the company, right? So that's what I saw in car insurance and bike insurance. But health and life basically worked very differently.
Right.
So where we saw that whatever we did, right, we brought in the best of the people to speak to customers. We solved for so many other things, right, on the user experience, solved for comparisons. We were seeing that conversions were not improving, which is finally the outcome that any business is looking for, right? That 100 people are coming, how many are closing, right, and how many are buying. And that was a friction point that actually led me to think through it, right? Why is this happening, right? Why is the conversion 3% when 100 people are giving their phone numbers themselves? Why only 3 people buying? What are the 97 people doing, and why they are not buying from you? So largely it came down to my understanding of that was that we were not able to establish trust, right? And trust establishment was not happening because of two reasons. One was the listing that we were doing, customers not able to understand it, right? Because we were a broker, there was some vested interest in how we were showing the listing, right? And the information was not easy to understand. Like if, let's say even today, if you go to a policy bazaar and you search for a health insurance policy, you will get 90 plans, right? It's not humanly possible for anybody to compare 90 plans. So you get stuck. Then what is the next port of call? Your next port of call is to talk to a call center guy. As soon as you talk to a call center guy, you basically realize that that person also does not have enough knowledge for him to be the expert to sell you the policy.
And one more problem is car has many common things, right?
Exactly.
Add-ons and
it's a very standard
things are very
product.
standard, right?
Correct.
But health is having a huge amount of permutation combinations
Absolutely.
there, right?
Plus the service is also not standard. The product is not standard, service is not standard. Service can be very dynamic, and like car insurance में क्या है कि आपका even if your car stays in the workshop for 3 more days because of bad service, it's okay, right? Meaning you can still figure it out. It's not that all of us came with cars when we were born, right? So we are all able to manage that. but your family being in the hospital for 2 more days is something that people are not okay with, and that's why there is a sensitivity involved in health and life insurance.
Right.
And that is somewhere basically it came out that, and plus the cost is very high, right? So when you're buying health insurance, you're buying at around 25,000-30,000 rupees average premium, right? And it's something that you are committing with the same insurance company for the next 30-40 years. Typically a person who buys health insurance is 30-year-old, और वो खुद तो सोच रहा है कि मैं 80 साल तक तो जीऊँगा. 50 साल के लिए you're committing 30,000 rupees minimum. Actually, you may actually commit more because every year your premium is going to increase. So it's like I always draw a parallel of this with a refrigerator. In normal middle class aadmi, how much time does he take to decide on a refrigerator? Even if he's spending only 30,000 rupees, he will go to 3-4 workplaces. He will then look online, then he'll research, then he'll read reviews, and he'll buy. That is only one purchase, right? This is basically purchases of not 1 year of 30,000. It is purchases of 30,000 for 1 year multiplied by 50 years, right? So I'm committing for 30,000 for 50 years.
True.
So that product actually cannot have a similar experience to car insurance, where the same guy who used to sell car insurance is selling health insurance. That is what most aggregators are doing today, right? What they're doing is that they're putting people who are selling car insurance, they're same kind of people, or maybe little better, are selling health insurance, right? And that's what we saw that did not work with Coverfox, whatever we did, right? Because customers were able to understand that this person who's selling a policy to me is selling. The customer actually wanted advice because it's a long-term product. It's like taxation. I always say this and I give this example that it's like taxation. Now we just at this point in time we are in that season, right, where everybody filed their taxes. आपको free में भी कोई tax file करके देता है. Then you have a person who files tax at 500 rupees also, and there is a person who files tax at 5,000 rupees also.
True.
Right? But after a point, you realize that you should go to the best chartered accountant and file your tax, because long term it is going to be very useful for you, because that guy is kind of seasoned, so he knows what are the things that can go wrong. And दूसरा के जब कोई inquiry आएगा, that time this guy would be there first of all, and second he would know how to answer. Right? I have faced this in my life also, right? That मैंने बहुत सस्ते में किसी से करवा दिया. I got my returns filed with someone who, at a very cheap cost, or even for free, because he was my friend. And then when the actual inquiry came, I didn't know how to answer that inquiry, and there were mistakes, right? And then I had to pay the price for that, right? Very similar thing about health insurance. कि आपको जिससे ले रहे हो policy, that is very important, right? So that's the other insight. So first was the information problem, which is basically that how do you decide a policy on your own was not possible because 90 plans are getting listed. Second, आपको नहीं समझ में आ रहा है तो you need to speak to someone. That person whom you were speaking to is also someone who was not inspiring trust, right? So largely the trust problem can be solved only two ways. One is that you get information right, और आप खुद से decision लो, या तो आपको कोई you meet a person whom you can trust and then depend on that person. Both of these things no aggregator was solving, and that's where we thought of Beshak. So Beshak is basically a fusion of these two solutions. One is that we solve for information, which is largely about bringing in the most independent, most deep information for customers to make decisions on their own. And even after that, if they're overwhelmed with this and not able to understand, we created a community of very, very high quality premium insurance experts whom we curate and screen and bring on our platform, who can handhold the customer not only to buy the policy, but right through till claims. So largely, customer ko, we wanted to bring this problem out, solve this problem of the customer, that if I have to blindly buy insurance, right, can I buy it from a platform? Where do I go, right? That is the thing that I had in my mind, that if I have to blindly buy, okay, I don't want to go through the stress of कि ये मेरे को cheat कर रहा है, commission ज़्यादा लेने के लिए he's selling me this policy. What FOMO है कि अरे did I know all the options? Did I know the universe of all options before I decided? What will happen if there is a claim? All these are the problems that people had. We took each of these problems and we used first principles and we created a indigenous solution called Beshak. Right? So Beshak is, there is nothing like Beshak that exists anywhere in the world because it is indigenous that way.
So you are also dependent on human advisors, right?
Absolutely.
So what difference you are trying to make here to make sure that advisors are also not cheating?
Yeah.
So what are you doing differently in Beshak?
Yeah. So we realized two aspects of insurance, right? One is the information problem, but the second is the assurance problem. Right? Customers finally want assurance, because after you dig into 3 levels of understanding insurance, you realize that you cannot understand insurance, and then you need something. Same thing about taxation, right? I am a chartered accountant. I used to try 2-3 years. I tried myself to file income tax, right? क्योंकि मैं ego है कि भाई I have learned this, so I should do it myself. But when you dig 2-3 levels and you see the forms, when you see the regulations, then you realize अच्छा ये भी करना है, वो भी करना है.
Yeah.
You
It's
realize you
changing,
cannot
right?
do it.
It's changing
very
every year,
dynamic.
right?
Yes, exactly.
So-
Health insurance changes every 3 months now,
Yes.
right? So then you realize that I myself cannot go to this deep level to understand it, and that's why I need an expert, right? And there are 2 places that you need an expert. One is to basically finally give you that assurance that your decision is right. I'll answer all your questions, get that assurance from that person. And second is that accountability also, that this person is saying that, bhai, I'm not here only to sell you this policy. I will be there at the time of claims. So if there is anything that I've sold you wrong, claim के time पे जवाब मुझे देना है तुमको. So
Right.
that accountability is what we solve for, which is not solved with call centers. Call center में the person who sells, he may leave his job, or he may basically not, he may not be the person you will talk to at the time of claims, right? Because there will be a claims team, right, who will talk to that. That claims team ka entire purpose is to solve for tickets, right? So both of them are doing disconnected jobs, but the customer is looking for one wholesome solution. So which is why you need a human. So the problem of an insurance agent cheating, we've solved it 2 ways, right? One is that we've filtered the advisors. We've found advisors only who have a reputation at stake, right? Who have actually worked for 5 years, who have a practice, who have an office, who typically want to build their practice based on reputation, right? ये लोग जो होते हैं, if you look at chartered accountants also, and again I'm drawing a parallel, they want to build their business or their practice on reputation, कि अच्छा काम करता है, तो उसको आगे business मिलता है. So that kind of people we found and we've curated and put on a platform. That is one. Second is that we've built in technology to ensure that the advisor's role starts after the main recommendations have been done. So what happens, the process with Beshak is that it starts with customer talking to the expert then generating a report on Beshak, which is a report that basically is powered by our research, right? Which tells the customer, which understands the customer's profile, matches with the products available in the market, and then gives a report saying that these are the products that perfectly match your needs. This is the coverage you should buy. This is the riders you should buy. These are the customizations you should do. And this is like a prescription. So it's like a pharmacist and a doctor, right? The pharmacist is basically, doctor creates a prescription, which is our technology. And the pharmacist is someone who's basically the person who, a good pharmacist, this is not an average pharmacist, who's someone who's basically looking at the solution and then basically giving out the medicines, right? So it's very similar to that. We created a solution where the tech drives the base advice and ensures it is research backed and not biased. And then the advisor's job starts, which is basically answering customers' questions, assurance, and accountability, right? So that's how we've solved for it. that
Okay.
way.
So in a summary, I can say that, so based on the recommendation system,
Right.
whatever it suggests, advisor will have to sell that.
Yes,
okay? And
yes.
that's something.
Correct.
That's how you make sure that
Yeah.
like your trust is not breaking and right things are getting sold.
Correct. So
that's-
advice happens from the tech and the research. The advisor's role starts after that, which is assurance, accountability for helping the customer make a decision, hand-holding him to fill the forms, because the form filling is also very complicated. And the last step is claims. That way.
Okay. And for the claim also, you have done something extraordinary with technology.
Yeah. So, see, first thing that a customer wants is someone should pick up the phone, right, at the time of claims. मतलब सबसे basic चीज़ है कि कोई तो मेरा phone उठाए, right? After that, even if the person says that, sir, मैं 2 घंटे के बाद आपको call करता हूँ, it's okay. Half of the times, there is nobody who picks your phone at the time of claims, which is very frustrating. So that's why we created these advisor base, which is basically people who are accountable, who keep their phones on in the night, right? Because they know that a customer can call for cashless at 2 o'clock in the night also. And this is true, right? I speak to these advisors on a day-to-day basis. They take that accountability कि ये मेरा काम है, कि claim मेरा काम है. Insurance selling is one of my jobs, but claim is my real work, right? So they pick up phones at 2 o'clock. So that is one. The other is that obviously we've used tech to ensure that even in the night, if there is an advisor who's not picking up the phone, then we've created a service by which we are ensuring that there are triggers that get created if the advisor is not able to answer. The first trigger is that we've created an AI bot, which basically will take up the call if the advisor is not taking up the call and answer questions. So we've created a full list of questions, which basically we fed them with our entire learnings of all the calls that have happened so far, and it answers questions firsthand. And at any point in time, if the AI is not able to answer, then it will basically take the number of the customer and trigger a call to our team and the advisor with a message and a call. And then they basically that advisor will get that call, so they will know that it is something which is important, and that triggers a actual human call to the customer. So that's what we've done to, like, it's like an emergency service just to ensure that the customer is comfortable when a very exceptional situation arises and the advisor is also not available. So we've basically ensured that there is a backup available that way.
So now it's been many years, right? I think 5-6 years.
Correct.
To Paycheck, right?
Correct.
So what are your learnings? Like customers want great claim experience, cheaper policies, great product. What are the expectations of the customer? What did you find?
So I think what I have understood is that the customer wants assurance that they will not be cheated at the time of claims. Right? I think that is the biggest thing. Even the most middle class person to the most richest person, the one thing that they want to know is that मुझे सब बता दो, and I should not be feeling cheated at the time of claims. So that is the most important thing, and people are ready to pay for that. Right? The policy that most sells on our platform is not the cheapest policy. It's actually one of the most expensive policy that sells the most. Right? So from that perspective, it's very clear that one of the main insights that is important for the space, for the industry, is that solving for claims and solving for reputation that comes from claims, right? Which is that ये company pay करती है, is becoming more and more important as we go forward. Largely, it's fueling from social media, right? Because social media has now become very vocal about claims rejection. If you see, because I am from this field, every day I read 2-3 stories about people not getting their claims, and then when I read the stories, it clearly turns out that in 80% of the cases, the claim was payable, right? But the insurance companies basically has tried to not pay the claim for some reasons, or they have created certain situations where the customer has to fight to get his money, right? So those things are now coming up at least the customers that we target, which is the people who are aware, who are on the internet, who are savvy, and who are young millennials and Gen Zs, they are become very, very conscious about the reputation of the insurance company for paying claims. So that is, according to me, one of the important insights. And premium hence is become lesser important. Like as much as the reputation has become important. कि claim मिलेगा क्या 5 साल के बाद, 10 साल के बाद. अगर वो नहीं मिल रहा है तो policy being cheap is not important.
So my question here is that, so trust issues are there in the market, right?
Correct.
What are the mistakes or what are the things insurance companies are not doing well because of these issues are happening?
Yeah, so I think the current problem that I see largely is largely twofold, right? One is that the insurance companies typically that are coming into picture most of the times where there is an issue with basically claim rejections, and then there is a lot of ruckus that happens on social media. What I have observed is largely they are basically chasing profitable growth, right? And something which is typically very difficult in the insurance space very early in the insurance companies period, like when they're running their company, right? So what happens is, and this is my observation, and obviously I'm not even saying this as an expert, I'm just saying this as someone who keeps observing things, is that I see insurance companies wanting to attract customers at a very cheap cost, right? Because they want to attract customers with products which are unbelievable, right? And then when those products are actually culminating into 2-3 years of basically running with the customer, and when claims come, that same insurance company, because it wanted to achieve growth, they basically did cheap products and basically brought in best kind of features. They need to pay claims, but at that time they also have another goal, which is basically that they need to solve for profit, right? So what's happening is, this is my view, is that customers are being acquired at a very cheap cost because they want to basically be acquired by the insurance company. But at the time of claims, insurance companies' focus changes from acquisition to profitability, and that's the balancing game that an insurance company plays on a day-to-day, quarter-to-quarter basis, right? This is where the customer gets basically kind of affected, right? Meaning, because you have promised the world to the customer and you have given it at a very cheap cost, and then when it comes to claims, then you are basically cutting corners because you want to make profits. This conflict of interest is basically what is basically turning out to be the outcome of the mistrust that exists today in the industry, right? The distrust that exists in the industry. That मेरे को तो जब पॉलिसी बेचा था तो आई वॉज सोल्ड एवरीथिंग, सन मून स्टार्स एवरीथिंग, and at the cheapest price. And now it's come to claims that the insurance company has changed its entire stance and someone else is talking to me at a very stern voice, whereas the person who was selling me the policy was talking to me in a very sweet voice. So वो जो differentiation है, that basically it creates a lot of shock value for the customer, and that is causing distrust. Beyond this, there is one more thing, is that somehow there is some amount of initiative that now the insurance industry is taking to change that. But the reputation management of the industry is not that great, meaning there's a lot of good work that happens in the insurance space. And this is something that I'm saying because I see the good work also, right? Because I'm seeing both bad work and good work. But that is not coming out that well in the market, right? People are not seeing the good work. See, social media will attract negative comments, right? It will not attract the good comments. It's the job of the industry to talk good about itself and basically proliferate that. कि भाई अच्छा काम भी हो रहा है, right? On a day-to-day basis, that so many crores claim get paid, so many people got their hospitalization paid, so many claims get paid. ऐसा नहीं है कि सारे claim reject हो रहे हैं, right? If you see the claim settlement ratio, it's above 90%. That means 10% people are not getting their claims, 90% people are getting their claims, right? तो जब वो है, but that is not coming out that way. So the reputation management has to improve is what I feel. The third and the most important is grievance management, जिसमें according to me the regulator's role comes into picture a lot. सुनवाई होनी चाहिए customer की, right? What happens today is that a customer is basically so desperate that he has to go to social media and write a very dirty, nasty post, calling the customer even a chore and calling the industry a scam, and then he gets attention or she gets attention from the industry, right? उसके पहले he is trying to do all his basically things where he's writing emails to the insurance company, he's writing grievances, but it's not getting heard properly. The grievance management is not very good in the industry, and because of which it opens up in the social media. कोई भी चीज़ जो आप system से solve नहीं करोगे, then it will come up in the public, right? And when it comes up in the public, then everybody comes to know that this industry is not answering people. And when that happens, then people get frustrated. Specifically, I see a lot of Gen Z people who comment on these posts saying that, क्यों लेना है insurance? Let's basically just do an SIP. I'm still young, I'm 24-year-old. SIP करूँगा तो बन जाएगा 1-2 करोड़ रुपए, right? जब तक मेरे को health insurance की ज़रूरत पड़ेगी. And that I will pay off my expenses, right? People are even thinking in that line. So why is that happening? Is because people are only seeing the negative aspect. And second is that people are only seeing the negative aspect because they are not getting heard in the normal grievance system. And they are pushed to write on social media. So that is basically the reason why trust issues are not getting, are still existing. And in my view, they are only growing actually, because only negative stories are coming out in the press and in social media.
So SIP example you just said, right?
Yeah.
Is it not a awareness issue? Because you know that life is unpredictable, right?
Correct.
You never know that unexpected medical expenses might come.
Yeah.
And you need a term insurance, right?
Correct.
You never know what will happen to you, right? So it's a real thing. It's not some scarcity thing that I think people are forcing you to, companies are forcing you to sell something, but it's necessary, right?
Correct.
Life is totally unpredictable.
Correct.
So isn't it awareness issue as well?
Yeah. So people, what they feel is that it's not going to happen immediately. तो मैं SIP सोचता हूँ कि मैं I'll do a 20,000 rupees SIP on my salary, and that would take care of my healthcare expenses in the future. First, it's not calculated properly, right? Second is that the thought process is that all my claims are going to come only after 50. I am 20 today. All my claims are going to come after 50, which is not necessary. There are a lot of claims today. If you look at the data, the claim data, a lot of claims actually come percentage-wise, number of claims-wise, come in between 20 and 30, right? Because people are facing issues which are related to gastro, right? And a lot of lifestyle issues are cropping up much earlier today, which used to earlier happen to people who are 30, now are happening to people who are 20, right? 20 to 30. So that impact is basically people don't realize. Plus infectious diseases, and plus let's say you include accidents. this happens in that 20 to 30 years age more, because you are that time a little more risk taking in terms of how you travel and all that, right? So that people don't realize, right? And so your concept is that my claims are going to come after 50, and that's why you don't think about the early claims, and that time your SIPs are not going to create a fund which is going to pay for those claims, which is a flaw, right? The second flaw with fund versus an insurance policy is that fund is not going to replenish on its own, right? Meaning आपने एक बना दिया 50 लाख का फंड, बट वो यूज हो गया तो खत्म हो गया.
And inflation plays big game,
Yeah,
right?
but what they say is that inflation तो मतलब इक्विटी ग्रो होगा ना, तो इन्फ्लेशन तो सॉल्व हो जाएगा.
Yeah,
that
but
is
you
what they
cannot
feel.
predict, right?
Exactly.
Equity will run for a...
Correct.
I think history might not repeat.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
exactly.
it has repeated in the past, but
Correct.
you cannot predict the
Yeah.
future, right?
Correct.
I think.
And the problem with fund, when you build your own fund, is that if you are basically saying that you will build your own fund, you are basically saying that you are becoming your own insurance company, right? If it was so easy, then insurance companies would have not struggled so much for so many years to make profits, right? Meaning, I'm just saying this in a very when you are doing your own fund, you are basically saying I'll be my own insurance company. मतलब मैं मेरा पैसे manage करूँगा, and that fund will take care of my claims, which is what an insurance company does at a larger level, at a scale level, where it brings money from everybody, pools it, and then pays claims.
Yes.
They are not able to do it after the pooling. You will be able to do it on your own is something where there is a big fallacy, right? Because once the money gets exhausted, let's say किसी को कोई बड़ा disease हो गया and the money gets exhausted, it does not get replenished. In insurance, if you are buying a 50 lakh cover, it gets exhausted. At the time of renewal, you will get another 50 lakh cover, which is something that people don't realize.
So there is one more thing.
Yeah.
We are not like West. Okay, we are in Asian countries.
Huh.
We have a liability of our parents, family member as well, right?
Right.
So that fund might suffice to me and my spouse,
Right.
because we are young.
Correct.
But what about parents who are liable on us, right? So
Yeah.
so I think that's also
Correct.
a different factor. So
Yeah,
that
yeah,
funds are never
Yeah.
perfect.
And also look at it from that way. Maybe we are digressing a little, but also look at it from that way that people want to retire at 50 today, right? And mortality is only increasing. So people are going to live till at least 80, 85, right? Meaning because of medical science advancement, people will live till 85. तो आपने काम शुरू किया 25 में, आप 50 में रिटायर हो रहे हो, तो 25 years you've worked, but you're going to be without income for next 35 years, from 50 to 85. Now, in this, you have to not only, your healthcare is one fund that you have to make, but you have to also make a retirement fund, right? And you maybe, if you're going to have a kid, then you also need to make a fund for your kid's education, for him to stand on his own. वो सब जब साथ में डालोगे तब पता चलेगा कि मेडिकल फंड बनाने के लिए एक्चुअली यू डोंट हैव मनी.
नहीं, वो भी नहीं है. और just like fund manager is there who is nurturing your funds, these also need to be nurtured.
Correct.
क्योंकि you need to keep on increasing your sum insured, right?
Correct.
Because once you're older, किस टाइम पर क्या sum insured होना चाहिए,
Right.
all of those things needs to be nurtured.
Correct.
Okay, मतलब क्या add-ons modify करने चाहिए, ये extra, जैसे maybe I have a baby, I should increase my cover. All of those things needs to be nurtured, right?
Absolutely.
It's not
Absolutely.
like कि एक बार ले लिया और वही ऐसा ही 10 साल 20 साल तक चलता रह रहा है.
Correct.
You are not making any change.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, people don't realize. People feel that it's a one-time purchase. Like you rightly said, it's not a one-time purchase. It's something that you have to keep reviewing every few years, specifically at milestones like you mentioned, when you get married, when you have a kid, when you have taken a home loan, when you're getting a large promotion and you have upgraded your lifestyle. तो आपके फिर your ways of looking at life are very different, right? When you were young, probably you were okay with taking a twin sharing room in a hospital. Now, because you have grown and you have a good lifestyle, you don't want a twin sharing. You always want a private room.
right.
And also you don't want in a nursing home. You want in a big hospital only because you now lived that lifestyle. So वो सब जो upgrading है वो आपके health insurance में भी it has to appear in your health insurance and your term insurance.
So in your journey, what change you found, or what is the difference you found in a tier 1, tier 2 and tier 3 city customers?
Right. So largely we cater to tier 1 customers because of the main reason is that we started with English content, right? And because we started with English content, largely intends to attract people from tier 1 only. Very recently, we've started Hindi content. So now we are seeing people from tier 2 also coming to us and asking us questions, right? Uh, uh, Tier 1 people and tier 2 people, tier 2 obviously is a little more cost conscious. They've still not realized the importance of having a good advisor. Although I would not say entirely that is true, but a good percentage of people still want to, solve for even a cheap product at the same time when they are basically looking at advice, right? Second is that we've realized in our journey, we've realized that they want local people. They are not okay with someone like today. The way Beshak works is that an advisor sitting in Ahmedabad can actually serve a customer in Manipur, right? Or an advisor sitting in Delhi can serve a customer in Kerala, right? But when it comes to tier 2 cities, they are a little more adverse to this idea. They want to have someone in their own city. Even if they're not meeting them, they want that assurance that they should be in the same city. So right now, like we are in that stage of solving that. We are solving the local problem where people in their language, in their state will speak to them that way and give them the same quality advice that currently is being offered through someone who's remote.
So how you are managing, as I can see, you are focusing on right advice.
Correct.
You are not running a sales engine, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, how are you trying to make money out of it? How are you balancing the making money or profitability versus giving a right advice?
Yeah. So first thing is that when we build the business, we decided that as per our strategy, we'll basically put the constraints to ensure that the customer never gets fooled, right? So first constraint was that we will not take money from the insurance company, right? Once we take money from the insurance company, if we take money from the insurance company in the current format that it exists, somehow we get influenced by what they want us to sell, right? So that was the first thing. The second problem also existed when we spoke to a lot of advisors who are fee-based advisors, who are basically people who've been in the space as in advisory industry for more than 10 years, 15 years. They said that the country is still not ready for fee-based advisory, right? Which is serious money. Now, I'm not talking about 99 rupees. I'm
in
talking
US,
about
it's very
rupees.
common, right?
Correct. But in India, it's still advice is something that people are not ready to pay for, right? And because of which these became two constraints, that we are going to keep the service free for the customer. We are not going to charge the insurance company, and we have to build a business, right? And we were anyways building a marketplace business, right? Essentially, we are a marketplace, right? It's a managed community marketplace, where we are basically creating a community of very high quality advisors who come on our platform. We connect them to customers, like how an Amazon or an Uber will connect a driver to a customer. We connect a good advisor, curated advisor to the customer, and then they interact. That entire interaction is managed by us. That's why it's a managed marketplace. And the experience is basically taken care by us. So we basically are accountable to the experience. So everything is monitored by us. We are there for complaints, for resolution, for changing the advisor. So that is the service that we built. So like all marketplaces, our service fees and our revenue comes from the supply side, which is basically that we charge the advisor. So we charge the advisor a platform fee for them to be on our platform. Plus we charge them basically based on the number of transactions that have happened in a month or in a year. That way. So that is our revenue model. We don't charge the customer because that was clear that there are not enough people who want to basically pay for advice. We didn't want to charge the insurer because then our service would have got biased, and hence basically created a model which is a win-win situation. Customer gets everything for free. At the same time, everything is independent, so they get very, very good quality, unbiased advice. At the same time, we are able to sustain ourselves by charging the advisor because the advisor gets to expand their markets. So today, an advisor sitting in Ahmedabad is serving the entire country. Right, they are not restricted to their pin code. Right, there is an advisor, in fact, in Ahmedabad only, who once mentioned this in a advisor forum, that मेरा गाड़ी पहले सिर्फ अहमदाबाद में चलता था. Now I have a T permit. Right, that is how he explained Beshak. I can drive my car anywhere in the country. So that is how he explained Beshak. So they get expansion. So everybody wins. Customer gets free advice and good quality, unbiased advice assured for claims. Advisor gets to expand their business, and we make our own revenue that way.
So this is a very different model, right? Yeah. And like maybe very few players, or maybe I know other player who is doing it. So what are the key metrics that you measure every day? What are the metrics that you chase, right? In sales machine, there are different kind of metrics, right? Correct. Here, what metrics you make sure that they are performing well?
Yeah, so there are two major metrics. One is the metric which is outcome based, which is basically conversions, that how many customers are actually liking the experience and ending up buying from these advisors, these experts. And second is reviews, right? So every interaction that happens with customers, we basically take a review for that specific experience from them, and then we basically chart out that review, and we ensure that we have to be above 4.8, right, at any point in time. Obviously, once we reach 4. We are right now at around 4.7. Once we reach 4.8, we'll make it 4.9. But the idea is not to look at two aspects. One is outcome, and one is experience. So that is what our North Star metrics are, basically conversion and reviews. So having a percentage rating of at least 4.8 today on our own ratings, that is basically interaction based. On Google, we are rated at 4.9 only, but at the level of every interaction, we want to reach at 4.8. So first call, second call, third call, whatever happens, those are rated that way. So those are our ways of basically ensuring that finally customers are getting what they want. So outcomes are happening, and they're happy with the experience also.
So do you see conversion ratios are much better compared to you worked at Coverfox?
Yeah, significantly better. So it would be like in the range of around 6 times.
Okay.
Of what we minimum 6 times of what we saw in Coverfox. Largely because we solved the problem, right? They solved the problem of information. Customers actually get to see the right research before they decide, and they're getting to talk to people who are also long term. They're not talking to someone who's going to leave their job in the next 6 months. So that is what has actually, the proof of concept has been established that way.
And how the technology is helping you?
Yeah.
What kind of technology you are using in Basic to run this, trust driven distribution?
Correct. So it's completely, we are because we're a marketplace, right? And it's a digital marketplace. So we are a technology company finally, right? So everything from matching the advisor to the right customer, and matching the customer to the right advisor is completely tech driven, right? Availability, when the advisor is available, the customer is available, has to be matched. What are the preferences of the customer? Can we match it to the preferences of the advisor? That we try to match. Advisor's capability to manage a complicated case also is matched. That is one. Second is we matching customers to the right products, which is also technology driven. But like I said, that it's a report that gets generated, which is backed by very, very high quality, deep research. So that's again technology driven. Then we use it to monitor the entire experience for the customer. So the entire experience that happens between the customer and the advisor is run through our systems, right? So which basically uses transcription, AI transcription. It uses various tools within AI to solve for basically finding out if there are specific cases, specific issues, specific learnings that are coming from the interactions that happen on a day-to-day basis. So that's where again monitoring happens, auditing happens, feedback to the advisor goes, right? That how they can improve their calls, how they can improve their advice. So that is completely tech-driven. Apart from this, now we are building, like I said, the claim service that we have built is also AI-driven. So at any point in time, if the human is not able to pick up a call, then we are ensuring that there is a automated system which is 100% available for the customer to basically receive the call, and then for the customer to talk to someone and that person receiving the call, and ensuring that there is a first resolution, and then there is a trigger that we're creating. So that's again where we are using technology. So there are a lot of other things that we do which are completely tech driven, like our entire product decoding, right, which is where all the products in the market, we decode to the policy contract on a sentence level, right? So every sentence that is written in the contract is basically analyzed by us, and then basically we feed it into a system where the tech and a human basically work together on it, right? So there is a tech which basically ensures that the sentences are divided and then basically classified into their own sections, and then it creates a certain kind of analysis of its own. Then a human watches it, reads it, and then creates a decoding kind of a product out of it. So today a customer wants to, let's say koi bhi in any part of the country, if someone wants to buy a product, even if they're not buying from us, if they're talking to someone, right? If they want to know what are the good things about this product, bad things about this product, they can just come to Beshak, look at the decoder section, search that product, and they will get the whole kacha chit of the product. Ke ye product mein acha kya hai, bura kya hai, what are the things you should know, not know, in like 3 to 4 minutes that way. So these are the technology solutions that we continuously build for the customer to solve one problem that they have. So we identify a problem, we create a solution out of it that way.
And how we see in the industry, there is a lot of buzzword or lot of conversation happening around AI.
Yeah.
So what are your views? Is it a bubble or it's actually helping? It's a
Yeah, meaning, see, every time there is a keyword, a new keyword that the marketer would get or a sales guy would get, it definitely, there would be a bubble also. But there is definitely a lot of good matter also behind it, right? Smarter people would obviously look beyond the bubble and understand whether it's actually useful or not. And we see tremendous use cases in AI to solve for a lot of problem statements that the customer has. Typically, the solution that you mentioned, right, that the advisor can be biased, the advisor can cheat. That entire problem can be solved through tech, right? And till date, we had a certain amount of tech. Now we have AI, which can basically on the fly, basically solve for problems for the customer while he's talking to the advisor. The advisor also wants solutions where they are not able to remember 90 products, right, when they are on a call. So if there is an AI assistant who's there with him while he's speaking to a customer, who can give him nudges, कि अच्छा ये product में ये features है, ये है. So it's like an assistant along with you. These things were earlier not available. So I think it is, in my view, it is going to be AI is not restricting us. Our imaginations, in my view, is restricting us now to the use cases that AI can actually bring out. मुझे ऐसे लग रहा है कि there are only two kinds of people who are going to exploit AI. One is going to be the young folks who are basically very, very young. उनको कुछ मालूम ही नहीं है. And they are now seeing AI and they are basically kind of AI native. So they are going to really machao in the world. And second is people who are basically looking beyond the bubble and actually objectively looking at taking their experience and basically creating solutions out of it. So, matlab, under 25 and over 40, I think people who have kept their egos aside and are ready to basically learn again, I think they have the biggest opportunity in AI in insurance, is what I think.
Yeah, so more like this is a more similar era when industry digital transformation was starting, right? Maybe a decade back, right?
Yeah.
And there also question was arising. कि physical से digital कर रहे हैं, हो पाएगा, right?
Yeah.
So this is a similar era of AI, right?
Right.
But this will become a mainstream, right? That you are very, very
Totally
positive about it, right? I think that will happen.
Absolutely. And it's we are restricted, I think, with our own imagination. I think the kind of solutions that can be built out of AI that can solve for the problems that customers have, the objectivity that a customer wants real answers. Customer does not want answers which has vested interest. All that can be solved by AI. Of course, there will be errors, obviously, where you will need maybe a human in the loop to solve for that. But largely, I feel it can solve for a lot of problems for the customer while becoming very productive for the industry. Like an advisor today is able to handle 3 customers in a day, right? Because every customer he needs to speak to an hour, right? That can get reduced to 15-20 minutes. So he can, that basically means that multiply by 3 ho jayega uska. Today he is able to speak to 5 customers, he'll be able to speak to 15 customers. So a smarter advisor or smarter expert who learns all these tools or who basically adopts technology will be able to do 5x more business. And someone who is not learning will basically maybe move to 0. That way is what I feel.
So there will be new kind of jobs created, right?
Absolutely.
I think like a decade back, maybe claim was happening with a pen and paper. Now that is digitized. So the claim expert will have to adapt those things, right?
Correct.
They cannot still continue with what they used to do.
Correct.
So they will have to do a lot of skilling, right? I think
yes. So,
skill upgrades they will
correct.
have to do.
Mechanical work to pura, matlab, like we always know. In fact, claims related AI, right, which is basically reading the documents and basically being able to create a kind of an analysis for the claims, who is the claims manager to actually look at the claim and approve it. That exists for close than 10 years, right? Meaning the OCR based technology that is built around 8 to 10 years, right? There's a company called i3 Systems, which Malesh, if you know Malesh, right? They built this around 8 to 10 years ago, if I'm not wrong. So all insurance companies largely are using that technology. Now that technology can be built in 2 days. What was built maybe in 2 years.
Maybe you are not a coder, but you can also build it. it become that easy now.
I have a very big inhibition over it, but I keep thinking कि एक दिन ऐसा मैं एक week off लूँगा and then I want to learn how to code using AI, meaning but I've not got the courage to start. मुझे वो थोड़ा कहीं ना कहीं तो inhibition है उसका.
So you want to be a vibe coder, I think. That's
हाँ, मतलब I keep reading about it, but yeah, I'm telling you very honestly that there is still an inhibition. That will I be able to do it? And I am that way in my head. I'm a creator, so if I think if I get into that, I should not get completely consumed with it, and then I have so many other things to do. So मैं तो पूरा घुस जाऊँगा there. So that's why I've not started it. But yeah, meaning so exciting actually for someone, endless possibilities. That
I think
are available.
we are running out of time. I think right. I think that's
Correct.
what I feel. And one more thing. I talk to certain people in AI world. There's so many use cases. Even you start with some use case, and there is a Guinness Book of World Record for that.
Okay.
You might get a entry in that because there are a lot more things pending. Lot of problems are pending.
Yeah.
You can solve with AI, and maybe you get yourself registered there. Okay, so maybe what I mean is that like you can get a home run there. You can create a good score there actually. Because a lot of things to be done.
It is going to require people to keep their baggage aside and think afresh, and then build on imagination, which is very difficult actually. For people who are experienced, it's very difficult, and that's why I feel the youngest people who basically who do not have baggage have a great opportunity in my view to completely like rethink how industries work, and specifically insurance, which has too much of old baggage.
And so we talk a lot about trust-based distribution. Okay?
Right.
We talk about what insurance company can do differently, how you're managing the distribution. Now, what about regulatory? What regulatory should do differently, or what should they do differently, or what are your views? Are they doing something there?
Yeah.
So what's your view? Like what regulatory can support trust-based distribution?
Only solution to this, in my view, and one line solution to this is that customer complaints have to be heard and analyzed and enforced, right? All the data that a regulator needs to improve this industry can be available through the complaints or the feedback that they can get from customers today. Either it is through them getting it through official channels, or it could be through social media. But listening to the customer itself today and listening to their grievances in itself can solve so many problems. And not only listening, but enforcing those problems, right? So, for example, whenever there is a complaint, listening to that complaint and then analyzing that, yes, it is a relevant problem, and then continuously working to solve that and enforcing the regulations that they have only built is something that I think is the major problem that insurance industry and the regulator needs to solve to basically improve trust in the industry. Today, the biggest problem that exists is, see, when the trust problem is the maximum, right? Not when you're cheated, when after cheating, when you go to the police station and then the police also tells you go home, right? Or tells you that come after 5 days. Then there is nothing else left.
Most frustrating.
Then it becomes, then you feel that ये देश में कुछ problem है या ये city में कुछ problem है, right? And there is nothing that you can do. You're a regular guy. You're not a gunda to go in someone's office and take the TV निकाल के घर नहीं लेके आ जाओगे तुम, right? So you will basically feel helpless. And as soon as you feel helpless, then you will cry out saying that this industry is a scam. So as soon as someone hears your problem, the customer's problem, and then creates a good mechanism to either enforce it or give the right answer to the customer why their problem cannot be solved. And that mechanism is solved very nicely, right? And then it's also used to take out data to solve continuously the problems that are basically coming out for the industry and create new regulations and again enforce it, again hear the customer. That entire mechanism, if it is solved, I think the entire trust problem can be solved. There needs to be someone who is basically playing that watchdog role and solving basically customer problems and also giving answers to the customer, also solving on the side of the insurance industry, which I think needs to be much tighter than it exists today. All in the IDA, the Ministry of Finance, everybody is doing a lot. And in fact, today when I see on the things that are coming online, right, and we are seeing that the regulator has become more conscious about this problem of grievances. We are seeing that a lot of steps are being taken for that. But I think there is an urgent need to fast track that even more.
And I'm again coming back to insurance side. So on the insurance side, do you think products needs to be modified as they are complicated
Yeah.
in nature? Do you think there something needs to be done for a better, distribution or better awareness of customer of anything you feel can be
Yeah,
done
meaning-
better?
Absolutely. Meaning, see, today, all these products, the way they're being built, and the people who are building these products are building these products for the lowest common denominator. The person who's going to cheat, the person who does not know the product, the customer who's going to make a wrong claim. It's being built that way, right? There is no science or personalization that is happening in that, meaning in terms of how the product should be offered to whom, right? Given that now AI is available, even before AI also, personalization was possible at an ultra level, right? Meaning where you basically decide based on whom the product is being offered to, and basis the profile of that person, the various scores that are available for that person in terms of their profile, the data that is available, and you can give different products to different customers, right? So wherever you feel today, what's happening is that when you talk to an insurance company and tell them that why the product is so complex, they will tell that largely it is to solve for basically misuse, abuse, and fraud, right? But that misuse, abuse, and fraud can be curtailed by basically solving for profiling of customers. Not every customer is basically going to be a fraud, and then you learn from that profiling, right? It's a dynamic process that you create 10 profiles. For some profiles, you ease off the problem, you make the product much more simpler, allow them to make claims faster, don't make it so difficult, don't make it so complicated, and then in a couple of years you learn whether that assumption was right, that persona did what you expected it to do, and then keep updating that, which is not happening today, right?
So in US,
yeah.
US we discussed, right?
Yeah,
In US,
yeah,
when you are buying insurance,
yeah.
it's not a 2-minute journey.
Correct.
It's a 10-minute journey.
yeah.
You will have to answer a lot of questions,
Correct.
and they will check, a lot of data points
Yes.
before giving you insurance. And
Yes.
your claim is very, very smooth because they do a lot of effort before buying.
Yeah,
And in India, we have a very small journeys.
yeah.
So you sell it very easily, but in your claim, you will have to face consequences.
Yep. So India has essentially been like 24 years of privatization, right? It's still in the phase where people are wanting to achieve critical mass, and hence sales becomes the most important parameter today. And all companies are sales first companies, and because they are sales first companies, everybody wants to listen to the salespeople, and salespeople are basically wanting to have lesser and lesser friction for the customer to buy. So there were companies, right, and there were people, visionaries, who created experiences where the questionnaire was for 4 pages, right, and people had to answer for car insurance. 4 levels of questions were asked, right, but never flew because the dealer who has to sell your policy, he said he refused to answer those questions, right? वो बोलता है मेरे को तो दिन में 10 गाड़ी बेचना है, I will not fill this form, right? Because the dealer fills the form. So those kind of constraints basically are faced by insurance companies who have to solve for the short-term problem of achieving their numbers, right? Only companies which do not come with this baggage of having to achieve a number and get patient capital probably will be able to solve, which is something which is a utopian situation actually, for that to happen. But like you rightly said, maybe it is a phase, right? We are in a maturity phase. Maybe in the next 10 years, there will be a couple of insurance companies which will maybe solve for this and say that I will ask Geico, which is one of the largest car insurance companies in the US, right? They used to do an ad in 2006, 2007, and billboard ads, which used to say that spend 20 minutes more on our website and get 20% extra discount. ये 2006 की बात है, जो 19 साल पहले की बात है. That can happen in India also. People will spend time. India still is a country where money is more important than time, right? For a large percentage of the country today, money is more important than time. We spend 10 minutes more to find a coupon code. We spend 20 minutes more to probably save on convenience fee, right? We do all that, right? 199 ka shipping, you are not going to get the delivery charge for 199. You'll find 2-3 products to add. You'll spend 5-10 minutes more to do that, right? We are a country that does that. So there is a use case where you can ask more questions, personalize it, make it simplified for the customer to buy, and give him a discount because of that. And then ensure that the claims are also simple because you have more profiling about that. So it is time actually that there is so much behavior in other industries which prove that customers are ready to trade time for money. Right?
Yeah, and customers are not always behind the money, right? If it's not very huge different, they might buy, expensive product as well. As you said, you are also selling expensive plans.
Correct.
But as they are advised well and they have a full trust, they buy it.
Yeah. So I'll tell you the same thing. So I want to buy a superior product, but I am not harmed if I'm getting a discount. So I want to buy a superior product. But if someone tells me कि आप 10 मिनट और लो और मुझे ये बताओ आपने पढ़ाई कहाँ पे की है, and upload your, these are all very random things, okay? And forgive me, and if any underwriter or some more experienced person than me is listening to this video may say कि क्या बोल रहा है, but I'm basically trying to say कि you are a chartered accountant, upload your CA certificate, or you prove that you're a chartered accountant. You are basically someone who is at a very senior level in an organization. You prove that. You have a very good credit score. Put your PAN number. We will check your credit score. A lot of insurance companies are doing some experiments on that.
Yeah.
Correct. So ये जो है इसको और expand करके, I think there are people who would spend. This is the same customer who is saying that I want a product which is superior. Will spend 10 minutes more to get 2,000 rupees discount, right? 1,000 rupees discount on a 40,000 rupees policy because उसको value लगता है उसका. I think today we spend. I also will spend if I'm getting a 200 rupees additional discount for something, and if it's going to take 2-3 minutes more, I will do that time. I'll spend that time. So that exists, right? And younger the person, I'm 45. The younger the person, he has still more time to spend. So there is an opportunity there that I think someone will capture this is in the future for sure.
India don't need a cheaper thing. India wants a value for money actually.
Absolutely.
I think that's the Indian market.
So I was reading a book called Zero to Scale, which is written by Arindam Paul from Attenborough, right? He talks about this. He says that India is not a price conscious country. It is a value conscious country. आपको सही दाम पे सही चीज़ मिल रही है तो लोग लेंगे. But आप ऐसे सोच रहे हो कि सिर्फ सस्ता है और चलेगा नहीं, then it's not necessary that is going to work for India. So value conscious, like you rightly said, bang on. It's a value conscious country where everything, people want to understand every buck has to pay, right? Which is how we are. Yeah.
What if you are given unlimited money, unlimited resource?
Yeah.
Okay, so what is the next technology problem, or what problem you will solve with the technology?
Yeah, so I think today money, in my view, should be used to, if there is unlimited money, then obviously you should start a AI first insurance company only, right? Where basically you are solving for the issues that exist in the industry and basically with limited resources. Today, the biggest problem that industry faces is that there is a huge cost, right, to basically set up an insurance company. The cost to basically run so many processes, right? So, in my view, it is going to be lesser about money and more about basically fresh thoughts and getting the right team in picture. Once you have that, I think money is something which is a byproduct of that, in my view, right? That for reach, for distribution, probably you need money today. But to solve problems for the customer, I think it needs, now with AI being in place, there needs only fresh imagination to sit down and solve the problem. Even one engineer sitting in one corner of the country actually can solve a very, very long-standing 20-30-year-old problem for the industry. So many people have built, right? Someone sent me a link saying that policy scanner किसी ने build किया. एक single person has built a policy scanner because he faced a claim issue in his own personal life and he didn't know that there were certain terms and conditions in the policy. उसका पैसे कट गए. तो उसने बैठ के खुद से he learnt the technology and he built a policy scanner. You upload the policy, it will tell you exactly कि क्या क्या आपके policy में पैसे कटेंगे. Right? One guy built it. So I'm saying there is no money required now. Meaning it is more about someone actually having a purpose and basically having the energy and the intent. And I think money is not become the problem now. I think it's more about having someone who's a genius to solve this problem. That is one thing. I think reach and education is where I think money should be used. people are actually educated about the problem of insurance. Like schools should also teach about insurance. Right. Yesterday there was a DM that I got where someone said that my father has only 2 lakhs insurance, and my brother has met with an accident, and the claim is for 8-9 lakh rupees. So can I get an insurance today for that 6 lakh rupees?
Obviously, no.
You cannot get,
That's
right?
not
So this is
possible.
education problem. Na? See, he is someone who's just naive. ऐसे नहीं है कि वो कुछ गलत बात कर रहा है. See, he's a customer. He's an individual. He's a आदमी तो आदमी है. मतलब he's just speaking out. He's saying that हो सकता है क्या? So this is someone who's 20-year-old, right? So स्कूल में अगर सिखाया जाएगा ये सब कि क्या होता है फाइनेंशियल मैनेजमेंट, पर्सनल फाइनेंस क्या होता है, रिस्क मैनेजमेंट क्या होता है, why do you need to pay first to cover your risk, right? And not get anything back, which is something that we've engraved in our population for more than 60 years today, right? That आप इंश्योरेंस इसीलिए खरीदो क्योंकि आपको पैसे वापस मिलता है. That needs to be unlearned, right? So I think money should be used to solve for education. Money should be used to solve for reach and make products which are very interesting for customers.
So one idea you said, very great. You can start a new insurance company with a very small team.
Correct.
So we can connect your profile idea. So banks have started. I found that some bank had started that. I think they started that savings account just for gig worker.
Okay.
Bank account just for maybe freelancers.
Correct.
Okay. Maybe for doctors. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody needs a different thing. Okay.
Correct.
So they segmented a simple year-old savings account in this segment. So if we create a profile, a profile can be anything. Okay. Maybe for income ranges below this and working in this profession. I think that's something we'll have to work out. But that kind of profile can be created. And great part can be claim processing can be parametric. Right?
Yeah.
So automated claim processing, right?
Correct.
Okay, so
the NHCX solution that is coming,
yes,
the government is talking about, all those things, once they get integrated, it can basically solve for so many problems that today people talk about in social media, that this did not happen, that did not happen. So from that perspective, yes, totally. And see, why insurance companies have to run behind sales is because they need to achieve a critical mass for the capital that they have, that someone has given, right? But if your requirement for capital is only going down, and I'm not, if there is someone who wants to debate on this, I also want to learn. I'm just saying what I can think about is that if the requirement of capital is only going down because of AI, right, then the pressure on generating that critical mass of sales also goes down.
Yes.
Right? And when that goes down, then the quality of the advice, the quality of the experience also will improve at a very small level. And then it can scale gradually on its own, right? Which is today not possible.
In cycle, right? I think you can get out of that.
You can get out of the cycle of because big capital is required. That's why mass scale is required. Of business critical mass business is required, and because of which you chase sales, and it becomes a cycle. And then you need capital for that. So it's a cycle that can break because of this. Absolutely, like you rightly said. Great. I didn't think we will come to this kind of a conclusion, but very interesting.
Great. So we had a great discussion. So yeah, thank you very much, Mahavir, for joining this podcast.
Thank you for calling me. Yeah.
I hope everybody will like it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.